It's up to you, New York, New York.
Hey guys, how we doing? Happy Tuesday. Excuse me, happy Wednesday. Just kidding. I called out on my least fun job yesterday, had a couple of things I had to tend to, so usually Tuesdays is when my week starts. Today is Wednesday, I'm positive. My name is Richie. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast, and on today's show, I'm going to be hitting on some of my Major League Baseball trade deadline grades. I'm going to start with my New York Yankees, get the negative out of the way first. While I love the move to add power bat and the NL slugging percentage leader, Luis Garcia. This is a guy who could play second and first. He originally came up through Major League Baseball's pipeline as a shortstop. I do believe that it is a little bit of a logjam when you consider that you have Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt. Logic says Goldschmidt's the odd man out. His at-bats are going to decrease dramatically. A way to fix that a little, perhaps, is to put Giancarlo Stanton a little more occasionally in the outfield when he returns. Of course, I'm not the biggest fan of that, given his lack of dexterity and how often he gets injured. I give the Yankees a solid B plus on that move. Now, Elliot Ramos of the San Francisco Giants. Listen, defensively, not so great. He's a decent hitter, and he's very happy to be in the Bronx. So, in that regard, that's a positive. But when I look at what the New York Yankees gave up to acquire Ramos, I think you can make a logical argument that the Los Angeles Dodgers gave up less to get Tarek Skubal, who was arguably the best pitcher in the American League when he was traded. Of course, I would say Cam Schlittler, but you get where I'm going. He's a top line pitcher. The biggest fails on the Yankees' part, I said it on a short recently, I'll say it right here. The inability to upgrade the catcher position, as the New York Yankees probably are marching out the two worst productive catchers in terms of offense in Major League Baseball in Austin Wells and Ali Sanchez. There were catchers to be had. I think the one that really blew my mind is that they were not interested with Hicks. Ultimately, the Rays acquired him. On the whole, I give the New York Yankees a C plus, and that's me being generous only because of the Garcia move. I think Brian Cashman is going to reflect on this time down the road in the offseason and regret not getting another bullpen arm to help bridge the gap to Bednar, and most importantly, not getting a catcher. Because when you have a dead spot in your lineup that gives no production or automatic outs, it really kills a lot of rallies. A lot of excitement in Yankee Stadium last night as George Lombard Jr., according to Major League Baseball, the number 13 prospect in all of baseball, number one in the Yankee system, he came up yesterday and had a really good showing. I saw this young man turn a double play that I have not seen the Yankees be able to do all season long. And the Yankees have had their defensive issues, extending innings, making things harder to get out of innings. Lombard has the kind of demeanor that I think is necessary to play in New York City. We're only a 21-year-old. He's very mature. He has a way of talking to the media where he comes off as very confident, but also very humble. In his second at bat, he hit a piss missile into left center field. Huge homer there, and just bringing the Yankee crowd to their feet. The kid definitely has some showmanship. It was really cool to see his parents so excited. I know for any parent, that's a phenomenal day for them when their child, a life work of baseball gets rewarded and you get called up to the big stage. Now, this is a kid who grew up in major league clubhouses as his father was a major league player. So I think he already had the feel for what it was going to be like. But there's nothing like your first time in the show. I think Lombard is here to stay. I think he's the shortstop of the future. I think the future is now. So, in corresponding moves with Lombard coming up, with Elliot Ramos as well as Luis Garcia being added to the Yankees during the deadline, in corresponding moves, Jason Dominguez as well as Anthony Volpe get set down to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, the AAA affiliate of the Yankees. I believe that Volpe is essentially done with the Yankees. I think he had his opportunity. I wish him well, but I do not see a situation where he makes it back to the main club, barring mass injury, because even his other counterpart, Jose Caballero, in my opinion, has been more impressive. Yankees also didn't upgrade third base. Not too pleased about that, but Ryan McMahon is an elite glove at least. I want to hit on the captain, Aaron Judge, and his availability or lack thereof before I move it along to my next team. I will say this. Well, I guess you could say it's admirable that Judge was injured in April and played probably about 30 or so days with that rib injury. It wasn't very intelligent because had he reported it earlier to the organization or took it more serious, I think he'd be back already. And while Brian Cashman is being optimistic and positive, I don't believe that it's a sure thing that Aaron Judge will rejoin the club this year. Now, some people were saying that that's part of the reason why the Yankees didn't go all in on this deadline. I think it's stupid, especially if you're not going to have Judge coming back. You have to go all in for sure. On the positive scope of things, Clark Schmidt will be returning before year's end. In some ways, he can be inserted into the bullpen, kind of like a deadline acquisition. Now, of course, when you get an all-stars back, like Cody Bellinger, former all-star, former MVP, as well as former all-star, former MVP Giancarlo Stanton, the hope is that it infuses more potential for this offense to score more runs. As Ben Rice has been phenomenal, Garcia looks like he's got what it takes to succeed in New York. But I will be honest, there is no guarantee that Aaron Judge will be back this year. We'll see how that plays out. Final thought on the Yankees. I think Brian Cashman way too complacent. And I blame this on Hal as well, all the way down. I think the Yankees are great at running a business, but I'm not convinced that they're great at running a ball club anymore. Now, all bitching aside, they got the second best record in the American League and they still have a chance in a division title. But when I consider that the Rays upgraded catcher and also added Freddie Peralta, I give the A's a solid B plus, A minus. Boston Red Sox, they loved Adley Rutschman and they went out and got him, the three-time All-Star from the Baltimore Orioles interdivision trade. The Yankees were not too happy about his medicals, but the Red Sox were willing to go forward. Now, Rutschman's going to be on the IL for at least another 2 weeks or so, but that is a huge, huge pickup, especially after this month is over, going into the final month of September. As the Red Sox have been surging, and pretty much since the Aaron Judge injury, the Yankees are only a game over 500. But one would hope that with the best pitching in baseball, which the Yankees have exhibited all year long, they are going to be a playoff team and could be heard from. But of course, you want to get that division title. I'll give the Boston Red Sox a B to a B plus. The only reason not an A is because Curtis Mead was injured basically in his first game with the team. That's just bad luck. But getting Rutschman is huge for these Boston Red Sox, as they have definitely turned the corner ever since firing Alex Cora. And I think Alex Cora is a good manager, but sometimes it goes like that. As the Rays go, um, it's a weird day in baseball when the team with the second highest payroll is throwing talent at a team that has been known to never be able to pay their superstars. But Freddie Peralta is a bona fide ace, and I think he's going to do great things for the Tampa Bay Rays. I really mean that. Chicago White Sox upgraded their pitching as they get Luis Castillo in a trade with the Seattle Mariners for Sir Anthony Dominguez. I think it works out for both clubs, as the Seattle bullpen has given up one too many leads and they still have hope to make the postseason. whereas the Chicago White Sox definitely needed another frontline pitcher. So they were able to do that. Castillo's not who he used to be, but he's still a firm contributor. So good move on their part there. Um, I mean, even the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pittsburgh Pirates were able to upgrade their situation too. And with O'Neal Cruz coming back in a couple of weeks, the Pirates are going to have a chance to make a run at the playoffs. Um, but I will say this firmly and honestly. I think this is absolutely the worst trade deadline in my memory that Brian Cashman has ever orchestrated. And I'm not saying that the Yankees can't be okay, but when you neglect two visible needs that everybody watching knows that the team needs, it's a little scary going into October when your two most fierce rivals this year in the division and teams that are definitely going to be in your way both upgraded. So in that regard, it is a little problematic. It's unfortunate for sure. Um, Too many catchers were being dangled by too many teams for the Yankees to not grab one. And I'm going to sit firm on that, and that's where I'm at with it. Um, the Los Angeles Dodgers. What more can you say about this team? I mean, you get Tarek Skubal essentially for free. That's another disgust with me why the Yankees didn't pull the trigger and try to grab a deal. And even if they gave them the Yankee tax because they're a American League rival, I still think the Yankees could have had him. Not pleased about it, but the Detroit Tigers, you got to flip a move there because you're going to be ultimately losing him regardless. Casey Mize also got traded in another move. So the Detroit Tigers, although they are not completely out of the wild card hunt, definitely thinking about the future as they should because you don't want to lose talent and not get anything for it. But as the Dodgers go, when you consider that a guy like Blake Snell is on the mend, and you bring in Skubal, who pitched very well yesterday in Chicago. This is a team, by all accounts, should probably three-peat. This is a team, by all accounts, that is going to be very tough to beat in the National League. Not impossible to beat. Nothing's impossible, but they're going to be very tough to beat. And, making that move and also the way that Shohei Ohtani front-loaded his massive deal, these are going to be questions during the labor disputes as a work stoppage is almost imminent in Major League Baseball as the owners are going to be fighting for a hard cap, whereas the players want the money to keep coming in the frequency that it does. And when you look at deals like Juan Soto, like Shohei Ohtani, to make examples of it, these are reasons why they're going to go to the tables because in the owners' minds, these kind of contracts are not sustainable. And there's also a competitiveness value to this. Now, I have mixed feelings on the competitiveness value because when you go over the luxury tax, you are trickling money down to your division rivals. Now, if certain teams don't want to invest that money into making the team better, that is an ownership thing. The Tampa Bay Rays have proven time and time again that you don't need to have a massive payroll to be relevant. You look at what Billy Beane did for many years with the Oakland Athletics. So I do have mixed feelings on that, but I think this is going to be a very complicated labor negotiation. And I just hope that we don't have a rerun or a repeat of 1994 because Major League Baseball can ill afford something like that to go down again when you consider that the sport has been so very popular in the ratings. The last couple of World Series really did well as the World Baseball Classic. But my prediction for the World Series, having said all that, I still think the New York Yankees, who are favored in Hard Rock to win the pennant, are still going to get there. And I think they're going to be staring down the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that's where the story ends for the Yanks. I think the Dodgers are going to three-peat. And I think it's appropriate in a way because the Yankees were the last team to achieve what the Dodgers are trying to achieve. From 98, 99, 2000, the Yankees did achieve a three-peat 4 and 5 years. And I think the Dodgers are going to get what they're going for. I think the Dodgers have the best team in baseball. And I did talk on shorts as well as a show recently that I think the only team that matches up in a short series with the Dodgers that can, force the right kind of problems is actually the Pittsburgh Pirates. But it is questionable, I guess you could say, to see if the Pirates even make the postseason. So we shall see. But I figure a 5-game series with Paul Skeens pitching twice gives the Pirates a puncher's chance. As the Yankees go, beating Tampa will not be easy, particularly if Tampa has the home advantage. Tampa has the absolute best record at home in all of Major League Baseball. Where on the contrast, the Yankees have a very good road record, but have not been doing great at Yankee Stadium. So we will see where that ends up. And that's all I got for today. My Major League Baseball grades and just kind of giving some feedback on what's been going down. I also want to shout out the New York Mets. Well, it's never easy to concede defeat and concede a dark time, a bad season. I think they did their due diligence to get rid of high priced players and to rebuild their future. That's all you can do. And when you got Juan Soto, who's still young, locked up for the amount of years they do, you might as well fine tune it now instead of waiting for a product that's already failed. But we'll see how serious Uncle Stevie is about getting the Mets back to the mountaintop, as there are other financial endeavors that he's being accused of caring more about. I am Richie. This is the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out The Real Bosco Productions on Bandcamp. You can see my co-host Idris Salam with his many musical endeavors. Check out our friends at the Casual Convo Show every Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. And check out our brother, Mr. Johnny Nast, on The Basement Show. If you haven't had an opportunity yet, definitely check out our football previews. We have 5 divisions to go. We have 3 divisions down. Most recently, we covered the AFC North. We're going to do our due diligence to put out the NFC North on Sunday. But if anything changes, we will definitely keep you in the know. I want to make sure that I can get my fantasy football league commissioner, Mr. John Olson, on that show, as he is a devout Packer fan, and he's currently actually in Wisconsin. Have a great day.